Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Fishbowl. We are on episode 6. I'm Preston.
I'm Rayna.
I'm Harmony.
And I'm Amanda.
Yes, that's right. We have a very special guest with us today. Amanda, if you would like, give us a little introduction about who you are, where you're from, and what you guys do at your company.
Awesome. I'm Amanda Apackal. I am from Oak Ridge Treatment at Heroes Mile. We are not a new program, but we are a newly rebranded, revamped program in DeLand, Florida. For those of you who don't know where DeLand is, because it is a little small. It is in Central Florida. It's just, yes, that would be west of Daytona. It's about an hour and change, hour and 20 north of Melbourne, but we service all of Central Florida and all of Florida. We're a primary substance
Nice.
program. Yeah, in kind of like the backwoods. I mean, when you think of a serene, just amazing tree surrounded kind of healing space, I mean, dirt road. It's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Exactly. So right now we're 42 beds and we're growing. We do medical detox, residential for adults, PHP, which is partial hospitalization with housing, and a step-down IOP program for intensive outpatients. That's pretty cool.
Is it adult only?
Yeah, it is adult only, 18 and up. I say that we're kind of new and revamped because we did just kind of go through a rebrand, but this program has been there for over 30 years. It was veteran specific before.
Okay.
Which was great and completely needed, but we're really excited to be able to open this up to everybody, including veterans, and keeping that strong veteran track. So it's something that we're still proudly supporting and specializing in. But now we're able to expand on those programs and open them up to everybody, males, females, veterans.
That was my next question. Is it both for male and female?
Yes, absolutely.
And big question everybody is going to want to know is, are insurance accepted?
Yes, we're a network with most major insurances, even some tricky ones. Like I know Oscar is historically a little bit difficult to work with, especially in the substance use space. But we're a network with Oscar, Florida Healthcare Plans, and obviously all of those. We're part of the VA Community Network, TRICARE, Chant VA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay. So really strong veteran program also. We're working, I mean, it's going to be days, if not a week or so away from also having mental health primary residential.
Okay.
We already have the space. We're ready to go. Just kind of working on those last, dotting our I's and crossing our T's with staff and ensure that our program is strong. Strong as we need it to be before we get completion for that level of care.
Absolutely. This is definitely a needed area. So we really appreciate you coming in and telling us more about it. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you have seen being in this field, and especially for an inpatient program like this, that you've seen, that you've come encounter with for people trying to reach out or getting a loved one into inpatient?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of things. I think access to care is a big one. And I think that that's a lot, centered a lot into the stigma, and then just not, people not having the information that they need about levels of care, right? Like, okay, my loved one is drinking too much. Well, what is too much? Where do I start? They don't want to go to counseling. Do they need detox? Okay, well, they don't need detox, but do they need residential? And what does that look like? Well, how long are the lengths? What are the lengths of stay? And that's not even just, normal, civilians out here not in the industry. That's even sometimes not necessarily you guys.
Right.
But that's
For sure.
Therapists are having conversations with some nurses in the emergency department, some of these case managers even, they're confused about levels of care. What is PHP? If I tell somebody, if I say PHP, do they know what partial hospitalization is?
Yeah.
For us, that includes housing. That's not always the case. So especially when you're looking at levels of care, where do I start? Where do I go? And I think that that's something that we're trying to be good at, keep the dialogue open, do our education, making sure we're finding the right resource for the right person, even if it's not Oak Ridge a Heroes Mile, right? That could be, it's important for, I think, all people, whether it's foundation for outpatient or whatever, but making sure that we're all working together to get those resources out to the community instead of working in silos.
Absolutely. I would agree with you 100%. And I think at Foundations Counseling, that's one of our biggest mottos, and within our mission statement too, is having that healthy collaboration and being able to have that open communication for being able to reach everyone there to be able to work together, because the communication breakdown can be so difficult when a loved one is trying to get care. We don't know where to start. And then one of the biggest challenge breakdowns I've also seen is the financial component, financial breakdown, and where do you start? So if we are wanting to give our viewers or anyone that might want to reach out to for Oak Ridge treatment, where would they start? Where would we guide them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like to keep it simple. You can always go to our website, oakridgetreatment.com, or, my cell phone number, right? I'm a person, I live here in Brevard County, and whether it's going to be, primary mental health, primary substance, I come from the primary mental health space, whether they're appropriate for us or not, we're always going to do our best to align you or your client or whoever to resources. And sometimes it is an insurance issue. Sometimes it is a transportation barrier. Like, we offer free transportation, which is great. Yeah, which is
Tell us more about that.
free transportation. We have our own fleet of vehicles that we're able to get that person to us very quickly, especially in the substance side, and particularly with that medical detox. Time is of the essence. When someone makes a decision that they want to make a change and get better, you got to be there. You got to be ready.
I agree with that.
My call to action is call me. If again, Amanda, 716-860-4592. Call me, text me. Let's talk through options. Let's, run your benefits quickly. Let's get you scheduled for transportation, because if somebody is willing to make that change, honestly, it's life-saving care. And
I love that.
Why wait?
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Going into that is, that's a great transition of where we are of, why wait? Why wait for that help? Sometimes it's hard to do that. And Harmony, what do you think about what Amanda's talking about with that level of care of, why wait, with our clients that we see in the mental health community?
I think there's different aspects to it. I think a lot of people might be waiting because they're scared. It's not easy. It's a big step for them to take. Change a card, change is different. It's uncomfortable to go with that change, but I think having that free transportation is really awesome.
It's a game changer.
Absolutely.
Amanda, game changer for sure.
Amazing.
We'll make sure that we put that information also on Foundations Counseling's website, as well as our Facebook, and maybe we can put some more information.
Put it in the bio of this video and stuff, and how you can find that, the website, all that stuff. Definitely. But yeah, no, circling back to kind of the idea of like, why wait? I feel like that's something that a lot of people, especially, the younger generation, is getting pretty good at, like not waiting. I feel like you're seeing a breaking in the stigma of mental health, and especially in the, if you will, like male side of things. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like males are now more inclined to go get therapy, and like it's not viewed as a weakness anymore in a lot of aspects, because I feel like for a while it was like,
Yes.
I feel like for a while it was like, oh, man up,
Sign of weakness.
man up, or like, and I feel like that's part of the breaking of the stigma, and that's why also it's very important to not wait,
Right.
Because, I feel like we've talked about it a couple times, but this is the only life we got.
Yeah.
You need to enjoy it to the max, be happy, go after what you want, and maybe that starts with getting help, whether it's just some mental health clarity, whether it is a detox, whatever it is you're struggling with. That might be the first step to an entire gateway of new opportunities in your life that you're so close to, that if you just don't wait and you take that step forward, then you're going to be able to progress in life.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very, very, very important. Very, very important.
And I think coming from, at least for me, it's very obvious, and we know this, obviously, as professionals, but we don't have substance use usually without a level of mental health.
No,
right?
they're
So
very coexisting.
very coexisting. And at Oak Ridge, we're lucky because we do have a very strong therapy program. It is evidence-based. We do CBT, DBT. We have EMDR. We do equine therapy. We have all of the modalities for success, which is great.
I see a field trip in our future.
I'd love to show it up. I have a cow named Mama in Peacock. Like I ain't look at going
to
I think the peacock that they're named. I don't know the difference between them yet. Well, that's a whole other issue. But we have the mental health side, and especially coming from that strong veteran track, so those bipolar disorders, the PTSDs, that's kind of our niche. But when you're talking about, the stigma of mental health, especially with men, you're absolutely right. I can't say that it's completely gone away, but we are seeing it more prevalent. And my biggest argument, and when I say to people, when I do kind of get that pushback, or when someone asks where you work, and then there's that pause where they kind of think about what you do. Do you question that your insurance pays for your medication when you have a sinus infection? Would you question somebody's insurance for paying for their meds for diabetes? No. Your insurance pays for mental health. Your insurance pays for counseling. Your insurance pays for detox and residential and all of these things. So just because you've never utilized them doesn't mean that your insurance doesn't pay for it. And do you think your insurance company would pay for something if it wasn't real and needed? Like, we all know how insurance companies operate. That's a whole other thing, right?
Absolutely.
But do we think they'd be out here shoveling money towards programs if they were not needed, if mental health truly wasn't an epidemic?
No.
Absolutely, And it is sad to see that that certain things are covered, and that, yes, unfortunately, there is that side of it, that there's the deductibles, and there are levels, and that there are co-payments, and there are certain codes that, this isn't, or you have to get this pre-authorized. And unfortunately, there are certain things that are out of our hands that we do have to handle for that. And that's why there are billing specialists and whatnot. But it's still, we still want people to don't allow that to prohibit you from reaching out for help, and to continue to break that that stigma of still getting that help. And exactly what you're saying is, whether the insurance or the finances of I think it still is you want that change, as Harmony was saying, and it is still hard to make that change. Is you still make that step, make that call, have that person. Everyone can find a reason not to do something.
Sure.
But there's always ways to get around of making changes, but we can still do it,
right?
And making the call. So definitely, you're saying oakridge.com?
Oakridge Treatment at oakridgetreatment.com.
Okay,
Oakridge Treatment.
So we'll make sure that's in our website.
I just think, ending off that topic real quick, you talk about making that step and like how that can be hard. I don't think there's a bigger step than the first step in this process. Once you take that big step, then it kind of becomes not an easy process, but it's one of those things where to get the wheel turning, you have to at least get it moving, even if it's 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Everything starts moving at 1 mile an hour, and then it picks up from there. Right. So that's definitely the hardest step.
And then my thing is too, just because a call, an inquiry, doesn't mean you're trapped, right? I'm not going to trace your call and come and get you, right? I am literally just a person on the other end of the phone. If you are to call any of the call to action buttons on our website, it's literally, you're going to get Jose. Like our team is pretty, they're actually incredible. And they've been there for years and years. But even if you're calling to inquire about a family member that you don't know where to start, calling because you're interested, but you're not ready, to pull the trigger on actually leaving right now. I'm not ready to pack my stuff. That's okay. I'd rather talk through it and make sure that we are the right place. If we're not the right place, where are you looking to go? Okay. You do have a different insurance. Let's talk about that, because not all programs are the same. Right.
That cookie cutter. And I love that. I love hearing that, because, and I was just actually having this conversation with someone in my office, that I was saying that the education component is so imperative, that make the call. Just let's gather some information. It doesn't mean that someone's going to be at your door knocking, saying, okay, let's go. It's not like that. I think there's such a misconception of getting help and looking at being able to make that first step, making that call. And I love that there is that information gathering and saying, it's the idea of you're not alone, that we do have, because of especially with veterans or first responders or actually anybody out there that is struggling with any type of substance abuse or any mental health struggle, that we do have that, and that especially with Oak Ridge treatment centers and places like that, Palm Point, Live Well Behavioral Foundations Counseling, we are not those cookie cutter companies or agencies that just check the box that are there.
Right.
We have people all the time that call to say, I just want to get some information, and we push them to our website. We've got great people that on the other end of the phone that are just like, hey, look at our website, read our bios, we're here. They'll gather some information. Our front desk people, Jamie, Harmony, they'll be on the phone call with them for almost 20 minutes sometimes, and they're like, you know what, I'm not ready to make that appointment. Hey, that's okay. Call us back when you're ready.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not car salesmen, you know, and that's the thing. But we want people to know that we are here to help. And that's the biggest thing. You're not alone. Tell people that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, just to call and gather that information, or even just point them in the right direction, you know.
Please don't go to ChatGPT.
Oh, man.
Please.
Just call.
That's so true.
Please talk to a human. We can help you.
ChatGPT is not a mental health professional.
Exactly. And you know what? Shop around. I mean, I have a therapist. It took me a long time to find my therapist. I didn't vibe with my first therapist. I can tell you, I'm sure treatment is the absolute same. So if, let's say you've gone to treatment and you've had a bad experience, give Oak Ridge a try. Give someone else a try. Just because one bad experience, I know I've talked to people that are like, oh, therapy was not for me. I'm like, no, that therapist was not for you. You know what I mean? If I want somebody faith-based, I'm making sure I'm calling Live Well Behavioral Health, right? If I want somebody who specializes in veteran or forensic, I'm making sure that I call Foundations. It is not one size fits all. So I plead you, please give it another shot. Just having somebody to objectively talk to, whether it's about substance or just real life stuff. Because right now, I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. Things are hard. They are. And when we say you're not alone, you are really not alone.
That's one way to put it.
So just want to touch base on what Preston said. Why wait? I think a lot of people think that they can manage it alone, you know, that they can go through it alone and that they don't need the help. And getting that help, like I said, is a sign of weakness to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, you know, just ending it, you know, talking about that, it's not a weakness at all. You know, you have a support system, and there's a bunch of different resources out there there's a world of resources that, you know, really hammering home, taking that first step unlocks that world of resources that aren't available unless you actually go for it and go get that help or go get that treatment, whatever you're looking for. It starts with that 100%.
And to circle back about that, I know we started this conversation with insurance, and being in network with a bunch of commercial insurances is awesome. I know you guys do so much work with so many insurances and sliding scales, and that's incredible. But I think one thing too is that's such a big obstacle. I mean, in a world where things are becoming increasingly more expensive, you know, the job landscape and career landscape is completely changing. So sometimes insurance is a pipe dream. I mean, right? Like it's rough and it's not always expected. Not that many people know, at least here in Brevard, NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. It was NAMI Greater Orlando, and they have actually merged and taken over NAMI Brevard, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
They have the people, they have the resources, they have giant walks every year. Freddie and Sarah Summy over there are doing an incredible job just growing that program. And the fact that we have those resources here now in Brevard is huge because they're free. So they have these, you know, you can jump on Zoom and jump on a group, you know, complete like support group, whether it's people suffering from mental illness or substance use, or if it's a caregiver, because that's one conversation I know, you know, as a therapist, that we don't talk about caregivers. No, we talk about that on the elderly side, on people suffering from cancers and illnesses, but caregivers of children and adults with mental illness, that is huge.
And special needs too.
And
we forget about that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think even just going on their website, joining one of their groups, you're going to get professionals on there, but also like-minded and people going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Or something similar, right?
That's very true. Yes. I know that is such a great resource, and we'll make sure we add that down in our comments as well, a link to them. Yes, because foundations counseling, we definitely we are on loads of insurances, and like you said, we try to help with EAPs as well as offering sliding scales. We have some limited spots, but pro bono slots as well for therapists. But yeah, it's always a challenge. But with those challenges, it's still there's so many doors out there for people. The whole consistent story here is don't wait. Take that first step, make the call, just get the education out there that there is help. You are not alone. There's help out there for substance, mental health, just to make the call, to talk,
Go for it.
and not chat GBT.
Yeah.
Please.
I'd rather you text me than text ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
With the fact that I'm not a therapist, but neither is Chat. Okay.
There you go.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everybody has an amazing Friday and weekend, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Amanda, so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you.
on to the
We're going to
Fishbowl.
do a field trip. Absolutely.
I'm along for all the field trips. I don't need to talk. I just want to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be a good time.
Let's do it. All right, guys, that's all we have for you this week. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Don't forget to comment.
Yes, don't forget to
Like,
comment, like, share,
subscribe.
subscribe, the whole 9 yards. And thank you guys for listening. I'm Preston,
I'm Rayna.
I'm Harmony.
I'm Amanda.
and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.